In this lecture, we're going to be talk about grid tie solar wind hybrid system. Basically, in the system where the wind turbine power and the solar power has been mixed up together and to get a requisite energy requirement for the consumer, that kind of a system is called as solar wind hybrid kind of a system. Generally, as we know, the solar power plant is generating the electricity by absorbing the photons from the radiation, and thereafter the DC electricity has been generated by the solar panels. And this electricity basically it is being given to the inverter, and thereafter from DC to AC conversion is happening, and then the consumer can take the electricity from the solar panel. Similarly, when we're going to talk about the utilization of the kinetic energy of the wind, so in that case, we can utilize the 3-blade, 4-blade, 5-blade kind of an turbine, and this turbine will going to rotate. And after the rotation of this turbine, the kinetic energy of the wind has been converted into the electrical form of an electricity or the energy. So basically, whenever in a system we are utilizing the wind energy turbine and solar power as a combined power basically. So in that case, we say the system will said to be in the hybrid mode. So basically in hybrid kind of a system, whenever there is an involvement of the grid is also there, then we can say such a system is called as a grid tie system. Similarly, the on-grid kind of a solar system, when we say there is an involvement of the grid is there, though in a system we have a batteries, but still the grid has been involved in the system so that the consumer can take power from the wind energy also. Consumer can take the power from the solar also. And if any requirement when this system is not been working in a specific region, so in that case, the grid also supplying the electricity to the consumer. In any time, the wind and solar energy is producing the excess amount of an electricity, it can able to send to the grid also by the net meter or the bidirectional meter. And that is why such kind of the system is very popular. That is grid tie solar wind hybrid kind of a system. Whenever we see the overall component and overall working of the solar wind hybrid system, we'll find we require the wind turbine over here. Like in small scale project, we have a small rotor diameter of the turbines are available. For the bigger scale type of an project, we have a bigger level of an rotor will be there. So based upon how much height and based upon what will be the rotor dimension is there. And according to that, basically the amount of power in kilowatt hour is generated that has been decided. But for a small scale domestic level, residential level or small scale commercial level, we can utilize such kind of the small scale turbines also. Turbine is generating the power likewise by absorbing the kinetic energy, and the AC power has been generated basically because in the turbine on the backside when we see there is a generator will be there, or we can say the alternator. In an alternator, basically when the rotor will going to rotate, so in that case the three-phase kind of an power has been generated in the AC format. So this AC power we have to convert into the DC power over here because solar energy generating the form of electricity is a DC electricity. And whenever we want to combine this both power from the wind also, from the solar also, through a common DC bus bars, then we require the AC to DC rectifiers for this particular wind turbine. And this particular power from the wind and solar has been given to the solar wind hybrid controller. This is another kind of an innovative controller that we required to account or install this kind of an system. So in a solar wind hybrid kind of an controller, we can give power from the solar also. We can give power from the wind also. And similarly, the unloading also brake system we can utilize on this hybrid kind of an controller. And then combined power, which the power we are getting from the hybrid controller is in the form of a DC electricity. And this DC electricity is given to the inverter. And in inverter, the DC to AC conversion is happening over here. And after the conversion of an DC to AC, we can utilize this power for our regular purpose also. Because whatever the instruments nowadays are there, these are belonging to the AC power. They are consuming the AC power. Similarly, in this particular system, we can install the battery also. That also become the hybrid kind of an system. If any excess power that we require at night time or wherever the solar power has not been generated, or the wind is also not been there in the system, that time grid can also able to supply the power for the consumer. So this kind of a system we can say is a grid tied solar wind hybrid system.